All right, everybody, let's get started. I'm not here, so there's no homework questions. If you have questions, you can ask me when I hand back your papers, because today's quiz is you will turn in this assignment. So make sure you turn this assignment into the drawer so that I can give you credit for today. If you don't do that, if it's not turned in today, so I don't have it when I check it, then you will not get credit and you'll have a 0. So we don't want that. All right, today we're talking about absolute value equations. Remember in the day, you had this thing called an absolute value machine. So this is my absolute value machine. And in my absolute value machine, I insert positive numbers. And when I input a positive number into my absolute value machine, right into here, near, I end up with a positive answer. When I input a negative into my absolute value machine, I end up with a positive as well. So anything that goes into an absolute value machine has to come out positive. And in order for that to happen, I have a positive and a negative number that went in. So 2 answers went into the machine to get me that positive answer. This is key to today's lesson. Think of it as a washing machine. When you put clothes into a washing machine, you have clean clothes in a washing machine or dirty clothes into that washing machine, you still end up with clean clothes. No matter what happens, you will have clean clothes. So it's the same thing with the absolute value machine. Everything comes out positive. So today, with these problems, once again, 2 answers will come out of this. We will end up with 2. So in order to do these problems, we first take and write down exactly what is there. That's equation number 1. Equation number 1. In equation number 1, we're going to solve it like normal. Add the 1 to the other side, divide by 2. And there's our answer. Equation number 2 comes from making the answer part, that 5, negative. So we have a positive and we have a negative. And then we solve it. Add the 1. Negative 4. X is negative 2. So both those answers, 3 and negative 2, will make this true. Think about that. 2 times 3 here gives me, 2 times 3 minus 1, so it's 6 minus 1 or 5, and the absolute value of 5 is 5. So this one checks. Same thing can be said for the negative 2. 2 times negative 2 minus 1, well, that's negative 4 minus 1 is a negative 5. So the absolute value of negative 5, is that 5? Well, sure it is. The absolute value of negative 5 is a positive 5. So this one checks as well. All right, let's do another example. So I have 3x plus 2 equals 4. And then my second equation is 3x plus 2 equals negative 4. I solve my equation, so I'm going to subtract 2. And I'm going to divide. On the second equation, I'm going to subtract 2. And I'm going to divide. And if you were to plug both those answers back into the original equation, it would be true. And if it's not, we made a mistake. So then let's ratchet up a bit. Let's kick this up another notch. That means, what do I do when I get all sorts of other stuff up here? I've got a minus 1 sitting here. I've got this divided by this multiplication of 3 going on. Well, we treat it like a normal equation in such that we have to get everything away from the absolute value bars before I can do that break apart. So the first thing I did was I added the 1 here to the other side, and now I'm going to divide by 3. And then, once I have the absolute value bars by themselves, I can split this apart and solve both of these little equations. So I'm going to subtract 2. I'm going to subtract 2, and those are my answers. And if I plug them back in, once again, I should get the left side equaling the right side. All right, these are the tricky ones, ladies and gentlemen. We have extraneous solutions. Whenever you end up with another variable, see how we've got a variable over here? That's going to cause me to have an extraneous solution possibly. So we're going to treat this the same way. I'm going to have a 3x plus 2, and I'm going to have the positive stuff on the right. But then I'm going to have a 3x plus 2 equals I have to make the right side all negative. So I'm going to subtract the 4x, so I get a negative x here. I'm going to subtract the 2, so I get a 3 I divide by -1, and I get a -3. Over here on the second equation, I have to distribute that negative through. And now I'm going to solve. So I'm going to add the 4x to the other side to get 7x. I'm going to subtract the 2x to get a -7. And I end up with x equals -1. Looks all fine and dandy. But now we have to check it, which means I have to plug this back in. So I'm going to have 3 times -3 plus 2. And does that equal 4 times -3 plus 5? Well, let's see. This is -9. -9 plus 2 is -7, the absolute value of -7. On the other side, I have -12 plus 5. -12 plus 5. So let's keep going. So does 7 equal -7? No. So this is considered an extraneous solution. And you would write some way, abbreviate ES, EXT, SOLU, however, somehow you need to abbreviate that so I know that's an extraneous solution. Let's try the other guy. I have the absolute value of 3 times -1 plus 2 equals 4 times -1 plus 5. So this is -4 plus 2, or -2, equals -4 plus 5. I think I made a mistake. Oh, Mrs. Miller, look at that. I added here. This really should be, let's take it out, should be -3 plus 1 is -1. Well, the absolute value of -1 is 1. And when we're checking this, the -4 plus 5 is 1. This checks, so this, ladies and gentlemen, is the solution to our problem. Now let me get rid of all of this down below so it's just not confusing. Okay, very quickly, I'm going to do the other one. All right, so this is 5x minus 2 equals, and we write it down just as is. And so I'm going to subtract the 7x, so I get a -2x equals, I'm going to add the 2 to the other side, 3, or x equals -3/2. And then I'm going to take and write the equation, making the right side negative. And when I do that, I get 5x minus 2 equals -7x minus 1. I add the 5x to the other side, and I get 12x. And I'm going to add the -2 to the other side, so I get a +1, and I divide, and I get 1/12. And ladies and gentlemen, when you plug those back in, and those are nasty little boogers to plug back in because they're both ugly little fractions, but when you do that, you will find out that, my friend, this one is extraneous, and this one is your real answer when you plug it back in. Okay, really quickly on the your turn one, not that I'm going to take it all the way through, but so you know, because this 2 is sitting on the outside, I cannot start this problem until he is moved over to the right. So I need to divide everything. So I'm going to divide both sides. So I'm going to divide this side by 2, and I'm going to divide this side by 2. Which means the absolute value of 3x minus 7 equals, well, 10 divided by 2 is 5x, and 8 divided by 2 is a -4. So this, ladies and gentlemen, becomes the equation that you're working with. All right, that being said, I am headed out to the parking lot. Not that you really care about that because this is morning. Please make sure you complete the worksheet. I will answer any questions over absolute value equations tomorrow. Do the best that you can. These will be posted on the web so you can go back and watch them again. All right, have a great day.